Yes, I'm a simp. Sniper Monkey.
Insta-locking Marksman is one way to trigger your entire team and send the tryhards into a fit of rage no matter what game you're playing. With good reason though.
Hanzo, fucking switch, dude. You're not doing shit for the team.
As a sniper, you can either be a detriment to your team or you can be a value asset by calling out enemy positions and eliminating enemy flanks. But let's just get one thing straight. If you're someone that likes to play Marksman a lot, you have to remember that just because you're getting kills does not mean that you're helping your team. Play the objective as much as you can and help your team by eliminating enemy flanks or flanking the enemy yourself, taking out high priority targets that are difficult for everyone else to take care of, such as enemy snipers or gunners.
On the right. Oh. I have been slain by Sack.
Sack is doing some slaying, that's for sure.
Get used to identifying what is an impactful kill and what is an empty kill. So with all that out of the way, let's dive into the Mosin and the M24 to see which one is king. I think no matter what I say and what data I present, people are going to choose the Mosin over the M24 every time because, well, I mean, it's a Mosin. And you'd be right to choose the Mosin as well, because it blows the M24 out of the water in every aspect, so the point goes to the Habibis on this one. But let's take a look at the data, shall we? Your character in Sandstorm is made up of various hit groups that have a different damage multiplier effect when hit. Normally I only test a few because there aren't any huge differences between a number of these spots, but taking a look at this graph we can identify how many shots it will take to kill the target, which we assume has 100 HP. Although the Mosin technically does more damage to each body part compared to the M24, their shot count is still the same. So let's compare their one shot kill range and how effective they are against different armor types, seeing as they both use armor piercing rounds. The Mosin is an absolute beast. As you can see here, it's going to one-shot an unarmored target from up to, let's just say, 238 meters away. Light armor doesn't really make much of a difference and heavy armor is around 182 meters. The M24 hits like a wet sock in comparison, dude. 183 meters for no armor, 176 for light armor, and a measly 128 against heavy armor. And while we're here, let's quickly talk about their velocity and hit scan range. The Mosin has a slightly higher velocity, but it's nothing you'll notice too much in game. So with that higher velocity, you're also going to get a longer hit scan range and a greater penetration value over longer distances. But I don't want you guys to get too obsessed with this hit scan range number. 86 meters is technically the range where the bullet has begun simulation and left its hit scan registry, but the bullet still travels incredibly fast to the point where it appears to be hit scan even at 130 plus meters away, even though the bullet has technically turned into an object in game and has properties of a projectile. Different surfaces will obviously affect this hit scan range, seeing as the bullet is slowed when hitting the object, thus beginning the bullet simulation earlier, and as we all know, the intensity of that effect will depend on what surface you're trying to shoot through as well. Like I said before, the Mosin will have a higher penetration power at longer distances given its velocity and just general higher penetration value in general. But what does this graph actually mean? I have no idea.
You what?
There's way too much maths involved to calculate the penetration value into damage, seeing as we have other variables to consider like muzzle velocity, surface type, and ammo type. So instead of testing how many shots it takes to kill someone behind these surfaces like I normally do, I thought I'd test where the weapon will stop penetrating a certain surface. This is what I found. Both guns still penetrate at 160 meters, and I ran out of room to test any greater distances, so I can't give you a proper number. But there's no situation where you're gonna need to snipe someone from that distance anyway. It's very rare, but if you see someone at, let's just say 150 meters behind a concrete wall or a sheet metal fence, take the shot. Chances are you're gonna kill them or weaken them. Okay, so now that all that boring stuff is out of the way, I'm going to give you my attachments recommendation and how I think you can use these rifles to your advantage. There are two ways to play Marksman. You can be an absolute Giga Chad and play the objective with aggression, or be a weenie and play passively, picking off enemy flankers and whiffing an entire pistol mag because you're afraid of confrontation when someone gets too close.
What are you aiming at?
I want to apologize.
No.
The ultimate gamer doesn't need a sight, but if you forgot to eat your Wheaties in the morning, then I recommend a variable scope so you can change to close range optics for when you need to push the objective. Slap an aiming grip on that bad boy for those juicy quick scopes. Oh, I just fucking quick scope the shit out of that kid. Or maybe even a loading grip if you hate spending 3 years reloading. Or shit man, maybe even a quick jaw grip for when you need to switch to your sidearm in a hurry. Personally, I wouldn't even worry about a muzzle attachment if you plan on getting in everyone's faces anyway, but maybe at the absolute minimum, throw on a flash hider for good measure. Now, how does a weenie play?
Feast your eyes, Patrick.
What is it?
What the fuck is that?
Your goal is to remain hidden. Change locations frequently to stop the enemy from calling you out. The suppressor is a brilliant tool to help with that. I've literally never used a bipod, but they help a lot with keeping your aim steady. Accompany that with a long range scope and you've got yourself a recipe to piss everyone off, because the enemy probably won't have any idea where you are and your team will be pissed off that you're not helping properly. So let's answer the question, should you use the Mosin or the M24? The answer is obviously yes to both, but the Mosin clearly wins by a landslide here. I want you guys to remember that just because a gun is statistically better than the other gun does not mean that the weaker weapon is necessarily bad. Any gun in Sandstorm is viable and you can perform well with them. There are just other guns that will outclass others.